Is this thing working? Are we live? It kind of looks like we're live. I'm just going to go with it. What is happening, everybody? I hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. If it's your first time hanging out with the live show, welcome. Happy to have you around. This channel is pretty much not much more than a background noise generator anyway, but the live show takes it a step further. Typically, these live shows now go on for around 30 minutes, give or take. And well, like I say, they're just background noise. It's me yammering on about motorcycle stuff, and it also gives me an opportunity to hang out with you guys, answer some questions, maybe go through a couple of videos that I'm trying to put together that just aren't really working out. And so, yeah, this is our chance to hang. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of working on something, which I actually was, which is why I'm running a little bit late tonight. So I forgot that I had to get on my job. So here we go. Hanging out with you guys, giving you guys some updates as far as bikes in the fleet, what's going on. And well, I guess, talk about the elephant in the room, if you want to call it that, the whole recall debacle with the Kawasaki ZX6R 636s that are out there. So that's always on the table to chat about as well. So in saying all of that, well, let's kind of dive in. Stuff that I'm working on right now. I'm actually right in the middle of moving the rear sets on Smokey, on the gray and black GSXR 750. Literally just kind of lost track of time. I was playing around with the little C-clip, the little clip that kind of locks everything in place, and I just realized, oh my goodness, we're running a little bit late. So in many cases, those situations like that, I'll just drag this thing into the shop and we'll just hang out in there. But this is going to be kind of a quick show, so we're hanging out in the office. So anyway, what I'm doing is I'm scooting the rear sets back just into their more rearward adjustable position, which the cool thing about the GSXR 600 and 750 is that you can do that. And the whole reason why I'm doing that is that the factory rear set position is really good on those bikes, unless you're wearing gear. And if you're wearing like a true set of leathers, the more forward your feet are, you can kind of bunch up with the knee pads and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of dragging those back. It's just an ergonomics thing. That's it. By the way, though, I have been able to get I've been able to get Smokey out a lot lately. Been working a lot here in the office. I'll get kind of diving into something, and when it's time to take a break, grab a cup of Joe and then run out on the bike and get a little bit of practice time. And guys, I got to tell you, the GSXR 750 is I can't tell you how much fun that bike is to ride if you haven't ever ridden one, or you don't ever plan on riding one. Rethink that thought. I have had so much more fun just BSing around on that 750, even though the X-Star bike, the 1000, sits right next to it. Man, I always tend to grab the keys to the 750, and I don't really understand the why behind that, but that's where we are with that bike. But checking in with you guys real quick. Skids is first in. Oh, got the ball guy with the flex and the specs. I like it. Sam saying it's a little jumpy, but the sound feed is good. Hey, as long as the sound feed's good, that's good. Skid saying, just wanted to wish you and everyone on board here a Merry Christmas, and a very Merry Christmas to you and yours, and all of y'all's to all of yous. Merry Christmas. And so, yeah, make it a good one. Bruce is saying, I want a GSX S750, but they're hard to find anywhere near me. Keep looking, bro. I'm telling you, the bike's worth buying. They're very inexpensive. They've got arguably, well, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, power plants. It's got the big bore 750 motor in it from the earlier, the K5 versions of the GSXR 750. It has a ton of grunt, and even though it on paper is heavy, it feels very substantial. And if you ever get a chance to ride one, it is one of the absolute best all-around do everything motorcycles that you can buy. And again, they're crazy inexpensive. I don't know what the deal is with that bike, but you can pick them up for a song. So I am personally not big into sport nakeds, but I'm here to tell you right now, if you were ever in the market for a middleweight sport naked bike, don't forget about the S750. It is really, really that good. Sam said, I've been cleaning my garage. It's amazing how many old battery tenders and jumper cables I have. Dude, ain't that the truth? So I don't know what happened with me. Like, I don't know if I didn't forget that I had them. I was like, oh, yeah, I need another one of those. Oh, yeah, I need one of those. Man, I got enough battery tenders. And the funny thing is that I've got all these battery tenders, but yet I've got my dad's bike that needs a battery, the four-wheeler that needs a battery, and the battery in the GSXR 1000 is not awesome. So yeah, there's that. Skid saying, dude, there is a gorgeous GSXR 750 in the current anniversary livery. Got that 40th anniversary looking good, right? Up here in Rockwall, dude, it is a pretty ass bike, man. I'm telling you. Well, one of them damn near made it into the fold. I'll just put it to you that way. So. Well, it would have been a 600, not the 750. But yeah, love me some 750. Skid saying same year with the Chargers. I don't know what to do. I've got Chargers. I don't even know what to do with them. And I've got leads. Apparently, at some point in my life, I thought that I was going to potentially run out of leads one day. I don't know. Anyway, I got leads. I got Chargers. I got stuff. I got all kinds of stuff. And I got stuff that needs batteries. That has been on the Charger things. So do they work? Do they help? I guess. I don't know. I'll tell you what, the battery in my dad's bike is ancient. I can't believe that thing still works. Scared to, you're talking about scared to use those things? Oh, go for it. Not going to hurt anything. Speaking of which, so, getting back to it, been taking out the 750 here for a while, a lot. Like I'm just, over and over and over again, grabbing the keys of that bike. And I tell you something, I cannot get over just how good that motorcycle is, just at being motorcycle. And what's funny is that it really has taken the place of the Bonneville as far as, okay, I'm just going to grab the keys and go for a ride. Like I just need to blow off some steam. Let me grab the keys to something and go for a spin. Popping off fireworks out front. That's one of the things about the 750 that's just so endearing to me, is that at no point in time do I ever feel like this bike is skittish. I don't feel like it's overwhelming in any one particular area, whether it's power or ergonomics or whatever the case is. There's nothing about that bike that stands out as being bad. Like I'll put it to you like this. I do a lot of riding reviews, right? And I always try to focus on the positives of the bikes that I'm riding. A lot of the ride review guys will just nitpick it to death, man. And that's one of the things where I don't really do that. I know sometimes it sounds like I'm putting an ad together for whatever bike that I'm riding, but I'm trying to find the positive. And I'm on two wheels, guys. I'm just out there having fun with these things, right? But for the most part, there's always something, right? There's always going to be this one annoying thing. There's always going to be this one issue. There's always going to be something about a bike that is going to be a defining positive and a defining negative. And it's interesting because, well, quite honestly, there's nothing about the 750 that is a defining negative. A lot of guys will say, well, it needs to have the electronics and all this other stuff. Well, the Bonneville doesn't have electronics. My dad's bike doesn't have any electronics. All of the bikes that I find the most fun to ride, I guess, don't really have any electronics. And I know the ride mode, the AB thing, I get all that. But where I'm going is this. The 750 just doesn't have there's not an overarching baseline that you have to follow when you're riding that bike. Like the GSXR 1000, for example, great handling bike, awesome to look at, awesome to ride, but the overwhelming marching drum line that you have to follow is the power of that bike. That's why you're on that bike. The Bonneville, for example, that one is going to be, just that grunty torque and the noise that it makes. It's the soundtrack, it's the noise, and it's the look. It's the suit that you're putting on when you ride the Bonneville, right? I mean, let's be real. It's a Bonneville, so it has a certain presence about it, right? But the 750 doesn't do that. The 750, you want to haul ass? You got all the power you need to haul ass. You want handling? Come on. It's the Gixxer middleweight. It's flickable, it's fun, it's lively, and that's one of the things about it. And this is, I guess I'm taking forever to get to a point here. Was I even starting to make a point? I don't even know if that was. Anyway, thing is that it works out like this with the GSXR 750 now coming kind of back into vogue. If you notice, a lot of guys, they'll ride the 750 and ride an R9. Like, where are my R9s at? Right? I never, and listen, the APB is still out there. If any of y'all have an R9, I would love to hear about your experience with that bike. I still can't get a leg over an R9. And it's been out for, I don't know, I lost track of fingers and toes on this. It's been out for so long, I can't throw a leg over one. And as I'm watching content on that bike, everybody ends up ditching the bike. What gives? So I would like to know from an R9 owner, and again, I'm going to, in one of the next live shows, it's just going to be an APB to R9 owner. And I'm just going to sit here with like some ice cream and, I don't know, some chips and just stare at a camera until somebody with an R9 shows up, because it's driving me bananas watching so many guys get the R9, ride the R9. I love the R9, and then immediately get rid of it because it's nothing that they thought that it was going to be. And it's basically, it's the, how do you put it, man? I don't really want to say that it sounds like they're disappointed with it, but is there another word? I mean, I don't know. My vocabulary is not super sophisticated, but if there's a more, I don't know, a generic, softer way to say disappointed, I don't know, disenchanted with it, maybe? I don't know. Their expectations have not been met. At least that's the impression that I get when I'm watching the R9 reviews from guys that have been able to get their hands on one. So, anyway, let me catch back in with you. Oh, Bruce said it's got a Cowie Vaquero, so now I'm not worried about the weight. Yeah, you don't have anything to worry about then. Sam found a 6-volt charger. That's a old school charger. Skids is liking the Vaquero. Bruce is hanging out with Skids. Betty's asking, any supermoto experience? Not really, not personally. But I am definitely open to a new experience with supermoto. In fact, the last couple that have come through the dealership sold before I had a chance to ride them. We've got the 400s, but I'd like to try something a little bit bigger than that. Oh, Skid saying you should check and see if anyone has an R9 to rent on Twisted Road or one of the moto rental site apps. That's next. I didn't want to have to resort to that, but yeah, I'm afraid that it may end up turning into that. I will say this, though, and I'm not going to be surprised. It's coming into December. And I wouldn't be surprised if come March, April, May, we don't start seeing R9s showing up at the dealership. There were not a ton of them sold in the Houston metro area. So, but I do know that some of the guys that have had them, they end up getting rid of them and getting something like a, CBR 1000 or a GSXR 750. But that may end up being the case here before too long. Ben's checking in with a 698 mono. Holy moly, that would be a blast to ride. The big thumper, I like it. Mickey's asking, am I moving the rear sets on both bikes? Well, I'm going to try it out on Smokey. I probably will end up moving it on both bikes. Another reason is you know, blast from the past, I brought back the old Alpine Stars. If these are the same boots that you'll see in that old video or old picture of me on the side of the tire. I think it's at turn 3 at Thunder Hill. So I've been riding with these old things, but the shifter pads have all disintegrated on these old Alpines. So I've got a set of another set of boots coming in. Anyway, I've been riding in boots more now. I'm not riding in the Chucks anymore. I'm riding in my boots, and it's just getting everything adjusted for wearing boots. And as a matter of fact, riding in boots again, it was before, when I lived in Northern California, I was always up in the mountains. Even on the street, even if I was wearing jeans, I always wore boots. I could not ride in tennis shoes. It was way too much sensory overload with my feet. Well, the problem is my Chucks, which I love desperately, I literally, and I only wear them when I ride. And they're my ride review shoes, basically, also. But they, the soles are now so thin that if I wear them, I don't know, 5 or 6 more times, I may end up punching a hole in the sole. I don't ever walk in them. I don't do anything. They're only for riding, and I've already worn them out that much. But Miki, I probably will end up moving both bikes one peg back, mainly because I can. There's not like a major, oh my God, reason for this. It's just that if I'm wearing, hold on a second, because I also busted out the leathers in my lowers. These are my old school lowers. And with the knee pads back over here, these things right here, they're just kind of bulky. And with the front, brand new pucks too, just a little bit of wear on them. But with the foot pegs in the stock position, it's comfortable in jeans, but you can bunch up with the extra padding on the leathers. So you just kind of scoot them back, and you can't really feel a difference. It's just opening up the middle of the cockpit a little bit more, and that's it. But it is definitely more comfortable so far as I can tell. But I've got to finish that. It doesn't take very long to do. I just have to finish bolting everything up, and I got to Loctite everything too. But that also brings me, as kids talking about the new Ducati or the Ducati 450. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I would love to get on a Supermoto. When I was a kid, I always thought that was the shit, man. I love that. But, so updates. So, so you've got Smokey, blue and white bike's always been side chick. So, blue and white GSXR 750 is up at Stubbs right now. We ran into some issues with the M4 exhaust, and I was literally in the process of filming the install of that bike. And it was going to be basically it was part 1, part 2, part 3. And it was part 1, unboxing, weights, measuring, all of that stuff. Part 2 would have been the full install. And then part 3 would have been the ride. The problem that we have run into with this M4 is in fitment. This M4 is just a super tight fit on this bike. It's running into the oil pan and all this other stuff. And had to send one set of pipes back, and right now it's up at Stubbs. I literally ran out of time. I only have so much time that I can budget to any one thing, and then I've got to move on. Well, that one went way over budget when we're talking about time. And so I just said, look, guys, y'all are going to have to sort this out. And so Tommy jumped right on it. You've got Jackson, and Mike is the one working on it. He's getting it all squared away. Looks like it may end up working out okay. It's a real tight fit. It's not like the Yoshimura where it just kind of goes together. So if they do end up running into any more issues, or that particular setup is in a bind or whatever, then all of that's going to get sent back, and it's just going to get an R77, just like Smokey. And I would prefer to have the M4 because it's lighter. But I mean, God, just because I was kind of looking for a little bit different way of going about things between the two bikes. So it looks like the M4 is going to end up fitting those. So that's good. But if in the event that does end up going tits up, then we've got a plan in place. But the main thing is that it is in good hands, and they're going to get that thing all squared away. Matter of fact, I got to see it on the lift today. So, but outside of that, listen, not a whole ton of stuff going on. It's that time of year. We're kind of through EICMA, through Moto Live. There's nothing really on the horizon for any newer bikes. The rumor still stands that Suzuki could do something with their middleweights, but the reality is that there's no demand for a change, or at least the demand for the change isn't great enough. And here's the other thing. You've got a lot of folks that are frustrated with the R9. And remember, the R9 was everything that everybody wanted in a motorcycle. It's almost like the R9 was designed and put to market by committee. Do you want cruise control? Got to have cruise control. Well, what about the chassis? Well, it's got to be a bespoke chassis and it's got to handle good. Okay, we can do that. But can we at least use the MT09 like rear section? Yes, you can do that. Okay, cool. Well, what about the electronics? Well, it has to have everything of the electronics, and brakes. Of course, we've got to have the best brakes on the planet. You see where I'm going with this? And the problem is that the R9, by comparison to the GSX-R 750, I mean, it's like a horse and buggy versus a rocket, right? I mean, the difference is the way that you would be led to believe is that the difference between the two is so vast and so great that, the Gixxer is completely outdated and whatever, except Yamaha can't make enough R9s. Dealer allocations are in the toilet right now as far as total units that are going to be available for 26. It looks like different dealerships that I've talked to, man, of those bikes coming into 26. Whereas Suzuki, what color do you want? We got 600s, we got 750s in the middleweight class. 3 different colorways. We got plenty of them in stock, and if you don't have one, we can get you one. But you can always throw a leg over a Zook. You can always take it for a ride. You can always get the feel of that thing, and it's not like that with the Yamahas. Saying all of that, everybody that's buying into the R9 theme, I'm not even going to talk about the Panigale or the RCR 990 from KTM. It's not that I don't like those bikes. It's just that their price point is way higher than the R9 or the Suzukis. And, and it's funny because they're all getting rid of those bikes. I've had a few of you guys reach out and say, I've got an R9, I'm getting rid of it to get a 636, or I've got an R9 and I'm getting rid of it to get a GSX-R 750. And they're asking for my input on, well, what's you rode the XSR and you had a 636, which do you prefer? And it'd be the 636 big time in that respect. But for the guys that are thinking about making the switch, nobody's going the other direction. In other words, nobody's saying, well, man, I've got this 636. I'm really wanting to get an R9. And I think that I may have kind of, been able to dodge something here, because I could never get my hands on an R9. It just was never going to happen. I've only seen one in the flesh, and I wasn't able to even sit on the thing. But in saying that, it's kind of weird. Everybody that's put out content on it, they've only held on to that bike for about 6 or 8 months. Has anybody held on to one for more than a year? I don't know. Be kind of interested to talk to some guys that have. Let's see. Victor is saying, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Are there any major differences between an 07 Gixxer 750 and an 11 Gixxer 750 in terms of handling and power? Nope, not at all. My 06 was, okay. So the 07, 8, 9, and 10 are going to be a little bit heavier. But that's really about it. In terms of getting down the road, don't let anybody hear you say I said it, but it's a better looking bike than the 11 and up. But, and I would love to get an 06, 7, 8. Honestly, if anybody's got a 6, 7, or 8 750, let me know, especially if it's red and black. But in terms of like what you would notice, no, it's an awesome bike. Love that bike. Mine, with a little bit of work done to it, had GSXR, I think it had GSXR 600 exhaust cams, full Yoshi, and a power commander. Put down 130, 132 right there in that range. So it was a healthy GSXR 750. The only thing I would suggest here is don't go one down, two up on the gearing. Go like one down and just call it good. And that bike, it'll be the happiest bike you've ever owned in your life. Just rectifiers and voltage regulators, though. That's the only thing that can sting you on those older bikes. Mickey's asking, I think we'll see an 850 in 27. No, unfortunately. What I would like if they did anything is just some kind of an update for that bike. But again, in talking to the reps, there is absolutely no financial incentive for Suzuki to do anything, frankly, with their middleweights. They literally sell every single one of them that they make. The machines that make them can only make the bikes so fast. They can only procure, it's one of those things where, it's like if you're making donuts and you make every donut that you possibly can out of your little donut shop. And somebody says, man, if you could make more donuts, or if you could make a different kind of donut, you would sell so many more donuts. And you're going, dude, I'm already at maximum capacity. To make one more donut means I've got to open up another shop, right? Like I've got to literally make another bike in this case, for Suzuki to be able to, compete on maybe a newer bike, Euro 5 level or something like that. And Suzuki just ain't going to do it. Listen, you may not be like, I didn't even think of it like this, but it is very true. Suzuki is very much a retro motorcycle company. It's just, you don't think of them like that because it doesn't really sound right. Like when you think retro bike, you think of like a Bonneville, right? Or you might think of maybe a Z900 RS, right? But those bikes, they're meant to look like an older bike, but they've got all the new technology, right? Suzuki, they just keep making old motorcycles. It's kind of like Royal Enfield in a way. Royal Enfield, if you buy a Continental, right? If you, or any of them for that matter, if you buy any of the Royal Enfield bikes, outside of fuel injection, you're buying a 1960 something motorcycle, right? That's kind of like Suzuki. A lot like Harley Davidson, as a matter of fact. They just keep making what people want. They keep making what people are buying. The Hayabusa does not have TFT, doesn't have any of that stuff. The GSXR 750, 600, they still have analog clocks as well. The most technologically advanced sport bike that they have, taken the GSX 8R out of the conversation, the GSXR 1000 still has an LCD screen. Suzuki doesn't feel a need to put any more money into newer technology when nobody really is not buying the bike because it doesn't have the stuff. And you got bikes for the younger crowd. You got the GSX 8R and the GSX 8 family of bikes. They're all the 776 bikes. So the 8R, the 8S, the Tuono, rather the, God dang it. What a Tuono. God dang it. I got ahead of myself. The V-Strom, all of those bikes, the Tuono, all of those bikes are, they got the TFT screen, they got quick shifters, they've got all of that. And, outside of the 1000 and the Busa, I mean, 750, 600, they don't have quick shifters. It's kind of crazy. Maybe give them an option for that, but I got to tell you, it ain't going to get there. Okay, so the whole reason why I had Tuono on the brain, that bike, this is an interesting one too, where a bike that everybody said, this is what I want. This is like, I want the Sport Naked with all the power and all the technology and all the screens and everybody and all that rest of that stuff. up at Wild West, which is a dealership in Katy, they've got or had one of the black, white, and gold bikes on sale for like $14,000, 14 and change. And, you know, we talk about technology and we talk about, you know, what folks will say, well, so-and-so needs to update this bike or that or whatever. But here it is, a bike that everybody lusted after and a bike that really should have sold like gangbusters, even at the elevated prices that they're at, was heavily discounted. And they can't sell it. Whereas Suzuki, you've got GSX S1000 and, well, they had the 750. Most of, if not all of the S1000s are sold. So I don't know, kind of one of those things. If you start to dissect the reality of the situation that you're in from a corporate standpoint, it's like, why would we do anything differently? Oh, Victor's saying thank you. Thank you very much. But outside of, let's see, as far as like any upcoming videos, well, we're getting into Christmas, by the way. If you're just getting onto the show, Merry Christmas to you. As far as upcoming bikes, I'm trying to work through some bikes for some riding reviews. I kind of want to get on a KLR 650. If I'm being honest, that's a bike that, for whatever reason, I've always been kind of attracted to. There's a couple at the shop, a couple of V-Stroms. And then we'll see. There's a CB 1000 that I might get on, maybe drag a couple of the Goldwings out. We'll see. There's a few bikes that I'm looking at, really anything, and the 1600s, the BMWs, which at some point I'm going to get to. Those things that look like freaking spaceships. I love that kind of stuff, by the way. I'm also going to try to get on a couple of Harley Davidsons too. Now, here's the thing. This channel, for whatever reason, no matter how much love I give to the Bar and Shield, those videos don't ever get a whole lot of love. So if you guys have a particular Harley Davidson that you might have your eyes on, let me know. I might be able to throw a leg over one, but I just, every time, and I know I hate to pigeonhole a brand like this, but every time I do Harley Davidson content, it just absolutely flounders. So for whatever reason, I mean, that Indian Challenger did well. I almost bought that bike too. Really liked the Indian Challenger. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'm going to get back to work on this 750. I got to get it all buttoned up. But with that, I want to say a very Merry Christmas to each and every one of you guys out there. Get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. But I am going to get back to work. Hate to cut the show short, but listen, hope to catch you guys on the next one. If you made it this far into the live show, consider hitting that subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. But with that, I got to get. Y'all take it easy.